This is Metrosource Minis, the official podcast of Metrosource Magazine and home of short-form interviews with your favorite personalities from the LGBTQ world and beyond. Quick, fun, and informative. It's Metrosource on the go. Out and proud since 1990. Well, hello. This is Metrosource Minis. I'm your host, Alexander Rodriguez, lead writer for Metrosource and avid podcaster. I am a gay nerd, and I am a Trekkie. Star Trek has now celebrated 55 years, has been responsible for generations of franchise spin-offs, including films, a multitude of TV shows, and even cartoons. And though Star Trek has always pushed the envelope in terms of politics, classism, racism, and gender equality, the LGBTQ family has just recently been welcomed to the table. And today I am chatting with actor Blu Del Barrio, leading the way for non-binary actors and making Star Trek history along the way. Del Barrio was in their final years of studies at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art when they auditioned for and booked the role of Adira for season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. Season 4 is coming real fast, by the way, becoming the first non-binary actor to portray Star Trek's first non-binary regular reoccurring character on a series. Because of activists in front of the camera and behind the camera in the Star Trek universe, the Star Trek universe remains relevant and, dare I say, cool again? I think so. I chatted with Blu for our current issue, available on newsstands across the nation and, of course, at metrosource.com. Please welcome Blu Del Barrio. Number one, that you have this Argentinian culture. I think we've joked about it before. I just want to stand on the balcony, do the Evita arms, eat some good food, and call it a day.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to share. We both attended the Star Trek Las Vegas convention celebrating 55 years of Star Trek. I have to admit, as much as a Trekkie as I am, this was my very first convention, so I didn't know what to expect. And of course, we were dealing with safety protocol. I wasn't ready. I was there for a whole week. But this was your first kind of face-to-face convention as well, correct?
Yeah, entirely. So it was terrifying, but very.
Well, I was going to say, did they prepare you for some of the fandom? I mean, I knew some of us Trekkies could get a little into it, shall we say. I was not prepared. Did they give you like rules and how to deal with Trekkie fans?
They not the convention, but people from my cast did. Like Anthony and everybody else and Mary did very much. Sort of try to walk me through as much of what it was going to be like as possible. But it really, I didn't run into anything bad. It was lovely. It was so nice.
Well, that's what I really got from the week. There was just this real sense of family. And I think because we've all, gone through COVID and we've been through so much politically and socially and now health-wise, it really was this bonding, and conversations ran around all of the franchises of Star Trek. You had your Deep Space Niners, you had your Discovery, you had your OG series, but we were all talking about the future of Trek, and it was just so exciting. What surprised you most about meeting fans face to face?
I think let me see. I don't know I was kind of preparing myself for everything, yeah. Everything and anything, and I think just the genuine joy and it's an overwhelming feeling, I think, to meet so many people who actively want to share their stories with you and connect with you in a pretty intimate way and quickly.
Yeah.
Is I think I wasn't totally prepared for how tiring that is, how it takes a bit out of you. And that's only because I wanted to be there for every single person, and every single person was making me feel something really special in my heart. So it was I went home and then slept for 12 hours.
Well, let's talk about that energy a little bit, because I know exactly what you're talking about. You have become such a spokesperson for the future of Star Trek. You've made Star Trek history, but also as a spokesperson for the LGBTQ community as well. you always have that pressure to be on or to say the right thing or to make sure that somebody who has 10 seconds to tell you how much they love you and why they love you and why they love Adira and why this is so important. You know, I've been on that side. Like I met Mary Wiseman for the first time and she was just there hanging out. It's like, how do you tell an actor from the Star Trek universe how much they mean to you in the Star Trek universe, but how much they're doing for the community at large? And you have to just take all of that. When you took this role, you weren't just showing up to the set and doing your part. You had to become this activist type role for our community. And you've also had to become a spokesperson for the Star Trek franchise, which you weren't the most familiar with going in. How did you deal with all of that kind of pressure? I mean, some actors show up to set, they film, and they show up for press day, and that's it. But you kind of are obligated to participate in so many different ways. How do you deal with that pressure?
I think from the moment that I got this job, that I got the call that I was going to do this job, I knew that it wasn't going to be, it might be like I think this might be like a once in a whole lifetime experience of like the amount of myself that, and like my care and time and love that I've put into this, and how like sometimes transparent it is between like story and my life. I think it's probably going to be one of the most unique things that I ever do because of that. And for that reason, like it didn't feel like a huge leap to bring in the rest, to bring in, you know, talking about it publicly during like interviews and podcasts like this. Like it didn't feel like a huge leap. It just felt like, okay, well, this is part of it. And everything felt very natural and correct. Like I wouldn't not want to be talking about this. I want to be talking about this, all of it, all the time. Like it's extremely important to me personally and in the world and in terms of our show and everything. Like it would feel weird to not, it would feel weird to just go to set and film and then leave. Yeah.
Well, I like that. And I you know, you said it so correctly. You're always going to be able to look at this role and this point of your career and see how you changed as a person, as well as how the franchise of Star Trek has changed. You know, this is part of your history too, like you mentioned. Now, entertainment has always been a part of your life. You took ballet, you started acting at age 7, you were a finalist for the National Young Arts Foundation for theater. What benefit did being so involved in the entertainment community while growing up have on your life that you wouldn't have experienced without the arts?
It gave me, I mean, it oh, that's such a hard question.
I know, it's so loaded. You can go so many different directions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there was a world in which I didn't end up pursuing the arts in some way. Like you said, I did sort of go all over the place and like try a bunch of different aspects of it. But I think I've just been that way since I was a kid. And I think for multiple reasons, the escapism part of it, the like adrenaline rush that it gives you, the freedom that it gives you, the fear. There is never, I hate feeling settled. Like I hate just feeling like, okay, this is where I am now and this is going to be how it is forever. Like constant change and constant trial and error and constant like looking into yourself to like check in and see like what's changed, see how you're feeling. That kind of vulnerability is something that I feel like gets shut out in like almost every other profession because people force you to, like, and you need to kind of like get by. And this is one of the only ones that it's like, okay, well, do both. Keep a really hard skin, but you're also going to have to do the rest and like the emotional work of it.
I love that. You know, you're right. Like for people that have a corporate job, you sit at a desk from 9 to 5 and it's always give, give, give. And you're just kind of like a number. This is really a unique opportunity, like you said, to kind of work on yourself and these roles. I know when I was on stage, it was always those few minutes that I wasn't being bullied or I wasn't have to, worried about, personal life. And of course, the applause kind of helped. That I was in my own for these few moments. We talked about in the article, you grew up in California, you've moved to London, you made a home in London, then you had to go film for months in Canada as part of the cast, but then isolated, under safety protocol. Where is your heart right now where you consider home? Is home truly where your heart is, or do you have a location that you're like, oh, now I can relax, now I'm home?
It feels like London, weirdly. And I'm in LA now because I have roots here and everything. And but yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's a mixture of like the people that I have there and just the place as a whole. I just very much want to end up there.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll miss you in California. We're like, no, they're ours. They're ours. Star Trek Discovery has become such a hotbed of fan and critic discussion. It's broken many Star Trek norms. What do you say to fans who say that you're changing the world of Star Trek so much, and especially Discovery? There's some fans that are quite not on board. What do you say to those Star Trek fans?
I think the first and most important question I would ask people who might not feel super on board with Discovery or super into it is like, why? I think just to analyze why. And I mean that in terms of like the diversity and the queerness on our show. I think it's like, it's scary to see something that you love so much change and look different, but also in the world of Star Trek, it doesn't mean that these stories weren't already there. Like, it's just that what was on your screen before was a different storyline in a universe that has billions of storylines with characters like Adira and like Gray and Hugh and Stamets all over the place, just not the ones on your screen at the moment. Yeah,
exactly that. That's so beautifully put. Now I know that you've done short films, but this was kind of your first big kind of on-screen role, and especially the demands of such a high-paced show, and then the demands of all the tech that's involved, and then these super tight uniforms you can't, eat at craft services. It's like, give me a break. But what would you say on the learning the craft and learning the business? What do you think you learned the most from your first season on Discovery?
Oh gosh, I think I learned, and I'm still learning, and it's made me want to learn more. The just completely technically beautiful thing that is like our entire crew, and how a huge crew on a big show like that works. In terms of like just making the day work, making everything work, and making the show as beautiful as it is. It's made me want to get into that. And I knew I wanted to go. I love every part of filmmaking, and I've wanted to dive into every part. So it is a huge blessing to be, on those massive sound stages where there's like 200 of us and everyone is incredible at their job, to watch those people and like see how they do what they do.
I think it's so beautiful, this show especially. We have these new actors to the industry, but then we have these veterans that have been in the industry for so long, and it's such a beautiful mishmash of chemistry. There's a very unique chemistry about this franchise of Star Trek. Now, speaking for the non-binary community, it kind of came along with the role. It kind of came along with the media push. What have you learned from the non-binary community since coming out? What has that community taught you, or what have you learned?
I've learned that I have a lot more of the space and freedom to do what I need to do. I don't need to feel pressured into being a standalone voice for anyone. The people that I've met and the people that I've had conversations with in terms of the non-binary and trans non-binary fan base is just, there's just like a huge outpouring of love and support for every part of ourselves. I think I put this huge pressure on myself, before Ian and I were even announced, to be like, okay, well, I can't ruin this for anyone. I can't step out of line. I need to be like the best spokesperson possible. I need to like really be here for my community in every way. And I put this huge weight on my shoulders, that I don't think I was ready for, or that anyone is just suddenly ready for. But the people that I've spoken to and had talked to and made connections with have just shown nothing but unconditional love and support, in a way that has made me kind of like relax and calm down and feel more settled.
I have found that from having the opportunity to interview members of the non-binary community and having to teach myself. When I came out, there was gay and straight, and that was it. That's all you could really do. And what I've loved about learning about the non-binary community is that it's so fluid, and it's ever evolving. I think the gay community has gotten kind of rigid in how we think and how we accept other people. Even the way that we deal within our own different factions of the gay community, we have become so labeled and so frigid, or rigid, I mean to say, that we forget that we constantly have to evolve, and there is no label that we have to adhere to that sticks with us. The more we learn about ourselves, the more we learn about other people, and the more we can change. There's no finality in our journey. And that's what I love also about Adira's journey on the show. You hit the season, and there's so many beautiful moments and journeys that Adira has gone through and has taken. I think it's really a testament to the community as a whole. There's challenges all along the way, but you come out of it in a very beautiful way, learning more about yourself and people around you. You have answered many of the same media questions. Like I said, when your cast hits the circuit, it's like boom, boom, boom. It's interview after interview after interview, and that has to be exhausting. But sometimes the media sticks to the same kind of hot topic questions or the same type of themes. In your opinion, what are questions or themes that the media should start asking you as an actor that we're kind of not asking, or is there something that we're not covering?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think in terms of like progress and moving forward in making sure that, we're starting to have shows that you don't just have one like token queer character on them and then move on. I think it would be really nice and beneficial, in terms of like everyone being able to see these interviews, including like casting directors, producers, directors, writers, to ask forward-thinking questions about like where our industry can go, how we can better the industry in terms of LGBTQ plus characters. Like those kinds of questions in that environment, I think would be genuinely beneficial to everyone, because I feel like there's still a lot of mostly cis het writers, white cis het writers and people making these shows, and they're only going off of like, that's why we've still only really seen mainly AFAB non-binary characters, like white AFAB non-binary characters, because they see it on screen, they go, oh, that's probably what that is.
Right.
So I feel like if we were asked these questions in interviews, like about how to better things, move things forward, that could actually be used for people like as a resource.
I love that, and I think we as the media should inspire other media people to start asking these questions as well. I'm curious. You know, my generation, we just went through this awful political administration, the last voting election debacle. People were really split in my generation, and I'm not talking about the LGBTQ community. I'm talking about the conservatives and the liberals. We were tearing ourselves apart. We were tearing ourselves apart on social media. In person. And I'm wondering, your generation just seems to be a little bit more positive, a little bit more accepting. Is there this kind of divide that I've seen from my own peer group? Do you feel that your generation is divided like that as well? Is it less so? What's your take on that?
It feels, there are definitely divisions. It feels like they're not so like just completely two-sided. It feels like there's multiple little divisions. It definitely feels like a little bit more chaotic in wonderful and bad ways. And I think a lot of that has to do with the state that our world is in, especially like, you know, the world that Gen Z comes into is a world that you know, is every day you see that, you know, oh, like our world and the way that it is might end soon, like in terms of global warming and the constant natural disasters that we're having due to that. Like it's, you're coming up into a world that already is like, bye, it's ruined.
Oh God.
So there is, but it's true, there is this
no, that's a good point.
There's this genuine feeling that I keep seeing throughout all of Gen Z and some millennials, even of like, okay, well, if this is it, if this is the world that I was brought into, I'm gonna say whatever I want. I'm gonna say what needs to be said. I'm gonna do what needs to be done. You know, whether it's like 8 years old, 13 years old, 17 years old, whatever the age, just people who are pouring their hearts out and speaking their mind because they kind of came into a horrible situation.
Yeah. I want to know, you know, we see the future of our community in the Star Trek future, and we see that we are part of the storylines, we're part of the family, we're welcome at the table. But in your opinion, what are the biggest obstacles you think the non-binary community has to overcome in this very near future? And I'm not talking about the entertainment non-binary community, I'm talking about the non-binary community as a whole. What are your immediate obstacles?
Immediate obstacles are, I mean, there are more and more wonderfully people coming out as non-binary at a younger age because the language is there and because of, honestly, because of social media and people being able to share their stories. I think that that's been possible. I think one of the biggest things that we run into problems with is legislation surrounding and people trying to take control over medically transitioning at a young age is our massive problem throughout most of America. And it's really terrifying because that being trans at a young age, these are crucial things. Yeah. These are absolutely crucial things. And again, to like come into the world, know that, okay, something's wrong. There's a way to change it. I can change that. And then having the world or the government be like, nope, fuck you, you can't do that. Having parents that'll say no, it's like the most crucial time. It's why there's such a high suicide rate within the trans community. Like, these are not things that we can legislate in the same way that like you can't legislate abortion. Like these are not decisions for a government to make. These are decisions for the singular human being to make about their body and their lives. Yeah, and hopefully that won't be, we won't be in the same place in the next few years. But yes, that is the biggest hurdle, I think.
Have you ever thought about getting into politics?
No. I don't. I think it. Yes and no, because I already feel involved most of the time.
Well, as an activist, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I think we even saw from the latest SAG election, it's like, wow, that's so political too. It's like, wow, what the hell? It's a tough environment, but you know, we kind of need youth involved in politics, but it's become so toxic. I just wanted to know if you had ever thought of dabbling in an official capacity.
I don't know if it. I mean, if the occasion or opportunity came up where it would be a good fit, then absolutely. And if it was something that I really like, there is a lot that really needs to be changed that I really care about with my whole heart and soul. So yeah, if there was an opportunity to, then I absolutely would. I do already feel very involved in the ways that I can be, in an unofficial capacity. But yeah, like you said, it is a very toxic environment, and I would be worried that it would just like eat away at me from the inside. But that being said, like, people have to do it. Like, we still have to do it to change that, so that in the future it's not getting into politics is not a thing that would eat you out from the inside. It's like, you know, a livable place where actual good positive change can get made without making everyone's hair turn gray.
Well, Blu, I have to tell you, you know, you being involved in the capacity that you are and the energy that you give. I was raised on the OG series, Captain Kirk. You know, that's my whole family. So when Discovery came around, like some of the older fans, you know, some of us are afraid of change because it's other people in what we hold sacred. And I just have to tell you that your energy and everything you've done for the show touches me on such a personal level. Everything you've done for the progression of the Star Trek universe, everything that you've done for me as a member of the LGBTQ community and the entertainment industry as a whole. I have to thank you so much for the time that you involve yourself with your fans, you know, with GLAAD, with the community. I know it's more than a full-time job, and so I really have to thank you for all of the work that you do. I can't wait to see what your future holds.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Oh, I love you, Blu. Okay, tell everybody where you want them to find you and follow you.
I'm just Blu Del B on everything. Instagram and Twitter. That's it. Yeah.
So easy.
Easy.
Now, I'm sure you can't, but are there any hints or themes that you can talk about for season 4? Anything we should expect?
Oh no, I don't want to get myself in trouble.
No.
I can't give anything away, but there is like wonderful progression in terms of both Adira and Gray's storyline and Adira's storyline with Stamets and Hugh. All of that, like the 4 of those characters, there's a lot of like really great stuff.
God, I'm very, very excited. Thank you so much for chatting with me, and enjoy the rest of your LA day before you run back to London.
Thank you for having me. It was so nice.
Thank you so much. I will chat with you soon.
Okay.
Bye, Blu. That has been my chat with Blu Del Barrio. You can read my in-depth article with them in the latest issue of MetroSource, available on newsstands around the nation or at metrosource.com. Season 4 of Discovery will be hitting very soon, and I know the cast. I know this from my personal conversations with them. They have worked so hard on this season under some really challenging circumstances during COVID and stopping and starting, also being isolated away from their family and friends for so many months to get the show made. So I'm very excited. And that's our episode. I'm your host, Alexander Rodriguez. You can follow me on Instagram at AlexanderIsOnAir. And until next time, stay true, do you, and live long and prosper. That has been another Metrosource Mini. Like, share, and subscribe on your favorite podcast player, and check out the latest issue of Metrosource Magazine on newsstands or online at metrosource.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram at Metrosource, and on Twitter at Metrosource Mag. Until next time, stay fabulous.